It's 6:30. You're watching East Midlands Today, and tonight, more harrowing evidence at today's inquest into the Leicester City helicopter crash, as the jury hears how 4 people would likely have survived had it not been for the fire that engulfed the aircraft.
A Home Office pathologist has told the court how nearly everyone on board suffered relatively minor injuries, but died from smoke inhalation.
A week on from a chemical leak here at this gym in Long Eaton, here from a woman taken to hospital struggling to breathe.
My lungs were just burning. I really couldn't get my breath. It was just such an awful experience.
Today is National Pothole Day, and I've been celebrating by speaking to the Roads Minister about this perennial problem.
And the pupils tapping into a billion-dollar industry. It's the school with its own gaming arena.
This is amazing.
It really looks like something out like Aliens or something.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Wednesday's programme with me, Anne Davis. So first tonight, the inquests into the deaths of those who died in the Leicester City helicopter crash have heard how 4 of those on board the aircraft survived the initial impact but died from smoke inhalation. The jury's also heard how the incident caused a massive shock across the aviation industry. Here's Helen Astrell.
Day 3 of the inquest here at City Hall in Leicester, and the court heard from a Home Office pathologist. Dr Michael Biggs told the court how 4 of the 5 people on board the helicopter would likely have survived had it not been for the fire which engulfed the aircraft shortly after it crashed on the 27th of October 2018. The chairman of Leicester City, Vishai Sriwattanaprabha, suffered a series of relatively minor injuries in the crash, including a head injury, which may have rendered him unconscious. He died as a result of smoke inhalation. Pilot Eric Swaffer, Nusara Suknamai and Kavaporn Punpare all suffered crush-type injuries, which again were relatively minor, and had the aircraft not caught fire, they too may have survived. They also died as a result of smoke inhalation. Isabella Lekovic, the pilot's partner, suffered significant head and chest injuries from the impact of the crash, and these were fatal. Under questioning, the pathologist was told how police officers had seen movement inside the helicopter after it had crashed, with the pilot, Eric Swaffer, shouting, "Get me out." The pathologist said there would have been a period of time when the pilot was conscious and aware of what was happening. The court was told that seatbelts would have offered little protection to those on board, and that the only escape route was a door that was now 2.5 metres above the passengers and pilot because of how the aircraft had landed on its side. The pathologist said it would have been difficult to reach the door, even if those on board had been fully conscious and able to move. In a written statement, Vishai Wattanaprabha's son, Ayawat, gave more details about the helicopter. It had been bought in 2016 for €7.5 million and was used to transport monks, guests, sponsors and players to Leicester City. The aircraft's maintenance company also gave evidence explaining that the helicopter received 2 annual checks and regular visual checks from engineers, including one that had been carried out 10 days before the incident. The aircraft had only flown for 330 hours. It was in the early stages of its life. The average aircraft would fly for between 10 to 12,000 hours. And the worn bearing on the tail rotor that seized as the helicopter took off, that would have been checked at 400 hours. The court was told how the crash was a great shock across the industry. The inquests here continue tomorrow morning. Helen Astrell, BBC East Midlands Today, Leicester.
Next tonight, the minister responsible for potholes has insisted that the condition of roads in the East Midlands will improve. Lillian Greenwood, who is also the MP for Nottingham South, visited the JCB Power Systems factory in Derbyshire today to see new pothole fixing technology in action. Here's our political editor, Peter Soul.
It seems there's a day for everything now, and today, believe it or not, is National Pothole Day.
It's really impressive, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And who better to lead the festivities than the most powerful pothole fixer in the land? No, not the digger, but this woman, who for the past 6 months has been the Minister for Roads. she's keen to big up the £1.6 billion of pothole funding announced in last year's budget.
Of course it's not going to happen overnight, but I am absolutely confident that when local authorities get this funding for 25-26, our constituents are going to see a difference. They're going to see better roads, they're going to have smoother journeys, they're going to have less damage to their cars, and that's what I'm looking forward to, and I'm determined to make sure that happens.
We've not had to drive far away from the factory to find quite a menacing looking pothole. And according to the RAC, Derbyshire is the worst county in the country in terms of potholes. And the chances are more and more of them are going to be opening up after the recent icy weather that we've had. This piece of kit, called the Pothole Pro, could help local authorities deal with the backlog. It takes the machine about 8 minutes to fill a hole at a cost of about £30. But the initial outlay is pretty hefty at £200,000, and as yet no councils in our region have bought one.
Well, we're here today in Derbyshire, but we've got Staffordshire just over the border. They're using the Pothole Pro. Stoke-on-Trent, they've had theirs for over 12 months, and they've done 7 years worth of work in that 12 months. So we would like to see more of the East Midlands councils taking up on this offer with a free demonstration to see how this can work in their local authorities.
Does the Minister, though, really believe that councils have enough cash to invest in something like this?
Well, it's really important that councils look at how they make best use of the money that they've got, and that involves embracing new technologies and new techniques, including things, and this is a great example of a way that you can get more bang for your buck. We want them to be able to carry out more fixes, and we want them to be permanent fixes so that they don't fill a pothole one day and a few weeks or months later it's deteriorated.
Potholes might not be the most exciting of subjects, but politicians of all stripes know they'll get it in the neck if our broken roads don't get fixed, particularly with county council elections approaching in May. Peter Saul, BBC East Midlands Today.
I think everyone's got something to say about potholes. Now, a woman caught up in a chlorine leak at a gym in Derbyshire has told us here at the BBC that she really thought she was going to die. Enid Hollingworth was one of a number of swimmers who were taken to hospital after the incident in Long Eaton, and it happened last week. Well, she's now waiting to see if she could have suffered permanent damage to her lungs. Steve Beach has this exclusive report.
Still recovering after the chemical leak she feared might cost her her life.
I thought I was going to die. I really thought I was going to die when you can't get your breath. I was panicking.
71-year-old Enid from Chilwell in Nottinghamshire was a regular at Clifford's Health Club in Long Eaton Town Centre, but a suspected chlorine leak during her morning dip last Tuesday left swimmers calling out for help.
There were just toxic fumes coming from the side of the pool, and instantly I can't breathe, my lungs are burning. My lungs are burning, I'm coughing, I'm shouting as much as I can shout for help. Somebody, please help me.
Enid has since emailed the club to ask why poolside staff didn't come to her aid.
I sat on the seat at the foot spa, coughing and choking, not being able to breathe, asking for help. The lifeguard was looking at me, nothing happened.
Mrs Hollingworth was treated by a paramedic for 2 hours and then taken to the Queen's Medical Centre. She was monitored overnight and is waiting to see if she suffered permanent damage.
My lungs were just burning. I really couldn't get my breath. It was just such an awful experience.
I've spoken to 2 other women who were also in the pool at the time of the incident. Like Enid, they were taken to hospital with breathing problems. They're now considering legal action. The club's managers have declined to be interviewed, but say the well-being of the public and staff is of paramount importance and always will be.
Angry is a word. Angry, upset, very emotional about the whole thing. And yeah, just angry.
Erewash Borough Council says it started an investigation and is working with the company to prevent any further risk to the public. Steve Beach, BBC East Midlands Today.
Well, in their original statement, the company said that they had retested all their systems and also their staff on their competency, and that this very rare issue that caused the incident has now been resolved. You're watching East Midlands today here on the BBC, and a new access ramp to an historic viaduct will not open for a number of months. That's according to the charity behind the project. Beneley Viaduct on the Derbyshire-Nottinghamshire border. It reopened to the public as a route for cyclists and pedestrians. That was back in 2022, after being closed for a mere 54 years. Well, construction of the ramp started last March. It was due to open in July, but it's faced repeated delays because of concerns about its structure. Now, a cyclist has shared his experience of coming across what he says are irresponsibly parked cars in the Peak District. 37-year-old Valerio Stewart says it was the most chaotic he's ever seen whilst he was out training near Mantor on Saturday. So he's been telling us about his difficulties on the road.
It was definitely the worst and the most chaotic scene I've seen in the Peak District.
Full, on the road kind of thing. Not even trying to get on the curb.
I was keen to get a good ride in because I'm training for an event next month to raise funds for Cancer Research UK. Because of the snow covering the sides of the roads, people had decided to just leave their cars on the road.
It's not 1, 2. It's miles.
Either taking over an entire lane, even on both sides of the roads. And that got worse as I approached Mantor. People were at a standstill. We saw quite a few cars abandoned, literally in the middle of some roads. I ride to the Peak District definitely a few times a month. I've never seen it that bad. I did see quite a few cars definitely without the right tyres, not properly equipped for all the conditions. There were definitely a few close passes, tricky situations.
In the middle of the road and gridlocking the whole place.
Please, if you cannot find a suitable parking space, don't just leave your car in the middle of the road. Think about those emergency services. Just use common sense, really.
Amazing pictures. Our reporter Chris Waring put that together. I can tell you, though, that Derbyshire Police told us that they closed some roads on Sunday afternoon because of, as they term it, poor parking. The closures follow reports of about 200 parked cars blocking gritting lorries and emergency services who were trying to respond to an injured walker near Edale on Saturday. Now then, let's have a look at some of the stories on the BBC News website this evening, shall we? More than 100 e-scooters being used illegally on public land were seized last month as part of a crackdown. That's in Derbyshire. And after hundreds of homes were flooded last week, as we know, in Leicestershire, there are concerns about it happening again. We have your questions answered. And there they are, a couple who had their very first date at Cineworld in Nottingham city centre. They say they're very relieved to hear that a new cinema is going to be taking its place. And you can find all those stories and more on the BBC News website and the BBC News app. Right, time for sport. As you can see from the lovely lot of yellow behind me, and it's Colin.
You don't need the cinema for entertainment when you've got football at the moment. Yes, good evening. It's January. Nottingham Forest are second in the Premier League. They've taken 4 points from the runaway favourites for the title. A European place is beginning to feel like almost a certainty. Now, in the late 70s, early 80s, that would have sounded normal. In 2025, it sounds quite mad. But it's where we are after an exhilarating end-to-end match at the City Ground last night saw Nottingham Forest put league leaders Liverpool to the test. With action, the manager and the fans, here's Owen Shipton's story of the night.
It's truly a top-of-the-table clash. First place Liverpool against third place Forest.
Liverpool maybe leading the Premier League. Sure, they're 6 points clear. And yeah, they've only been beaten once in the league this season. But do you remember who they lost to? It was Nottingham Forest.
We're the only team to have beat them so far in the Premier League already, so I think we can do it again at home.
How do you see it going tonight?
A win, definitely. 3 easy points.
It's a massive game. I think we're going to do it today. I think Chris Wood's going to score.
In 78-79, when we won the league, Liverpool come second. That's happening again.
I actually think that Forest are to be reckoned with, and we're going to smash them tonight.
52 seconds after coming on. After that, the pressure from Liverpool was on, and it took to stop them taking the win.
Mats kept us on game in huge saves, and Liverpool had their chances. We had a good goalkeeper in our goal to keep us in the game, so we are very proud. We are very good. They are very good. It's an amazing team, and being able to compete and challenge ourselves against Liverpool shows that we want to progress, we want to continue. But
against the leaders this season, they are now second in the table.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be a Forest supporter. My heart is pounding.
And for you guys, heart beating fast as well?
Yeah, I think it was a very intense game today.
We've got to believe we're going to get in the Champions League. You know, the players are incredible. Morgan Gibbs-White is something else.
Clough's time was brilliant, but this is moving on.
It's underlined the fact that we could get Europe now. You know, it was a dream beforehand. I think it's a realistic possibility now. So.
It's not often you'll see fans walking away from a 1-1 draw where their team had led for most of the game with smiles on their faces. But that result against Liverpool gives Forest fans confidence that they can compete with the best sides in the Premier League and maybe, just maybe next season, the top teams in Europe. Owen Shipton, BBC East Midlands Today at the City Ground.
Remarkable stuff. Now to the team that knows plenty about recent European football, but right now is more worried about just staying in the Premier League. Leicester City play at home tonight, looking for the win that would lift them out of the relegation zone. Our own Charlie Slater will be watching on and is there for us. And these games, Charlie, are feeling crucial.
Yes, good evening to you. They're all important games now. Only 18 league matches remaining before the end of the season, and Leicester have found themselves dragged into a second relegation battle in 3 seasons. They are second bottom of the Premier League, 2 points away from safety, and depending on how Wolves do this evening, they could see themselves escape the bottom 3, albeit perhaps only briefly, with Ipswich playing tomorrow. Some breaking news from the King Power Stadium in the last few moments is that they have signed a new defender. His name is Woyo Koulibaly. He signed from Parma a 4.5-year deal, and there's plenty of news around Leicester this week. What with Tom Cannon being recalled from his loan spell at Stoke City, and also on the PRS front, which are the financial fair play rules. Leicester currently abiding by those rules, as are all of the Premier League teams for the season of 23-24, though there are still some arbitrary matters going on with previous cases there. We don't really have the time to get into that, but an important game this evening for Leicester City against a resurgent Crystal Palace side. They have lost just one of their last 9 league games, whereas Leicester City have lost 5 Premier League games in a row, and time is running out. Ruud van Nistelrooy can have good performances, but he needs results.
Thanks, Charlie. Now, on to the FA Cup. 2 matches which had to be postponed because of the weather at the weekend. Both of our teams, they played last night, both of our teams going out. Mansfield would have hosted Fulham in the 4th round if they'd beaten Wigan Athletic. But even though Stags have been going better than their visitors in League One this season, they were undone by these 2 really good goals early in the second half, and according to Nigel Clough, some poor refereeing too. Now, Stags were disappointed, then Derby County will be gutted. Their 4th round opponents would have been Manchester City at home. All they needed to do was beat League One Leyton Orient. Derby's away form has been poor, verging on dreadful this season, and after just 20 minutes, recent history was repeating, 1 down. But the Rams' response was at least swift, Jajon Brown getting the equaliser just 4 minutes later. Derby went on to record 6 shots on target through the match, Orient just 1. But the manager admits the Rams were toothless.
I don't think they were any better than us, nor should they be, by the way. But I just didn't think we were sharp enough with things. We nearly got in a few times, like Marcus nearly got Nat in a few times first half, but we were literally like the nearly men tonight. We were close to doing something, but we weren't close enough. And that's sort of how it feels without watching it back.
And here's what that lack of edge brought us to. After extra time and an Orient player sent off, we got to penalties. Penalties went to sudden death. And this was the one that ended up denying Derby a shot at the Premier League champions at home. As Orient celebrate, Derby must refocus. The league comes back at them fast, with Watford, the visitors, on Saturday. Well, speaking of the FA Cup, Leicester City's women are in 4th round action against Stoke. They're at home, but this evening, home is Notts County's Meadow Lane. Still time to get there if you're in the area. And just finally from me, good luck to Leicestershire's Katie Bolter in tennis's Australian Open, the British #1, due on court early tomorrow morning in her 2nd round match. Now, that is just about it as far as the conventional sport is concerned, but this looks unusual.
It is unusual. Well spotted. Yes, we're going to be talking e-sport. Now, if you went for a bit of a tour, maybe, of your average secondary school, you'd expect to see classrooms, obviously, sports halls, perhaps even a science lab. What you wouldn't expect to see, I don't think, is an esports arena with students going head-to-head playing video games. Well, that's exactly what is happening at Countersthorpe Academy in Leicestershire. It's brilliant. Matt Smith went to find out why.
Countersthorpe Academy might look like any other secondary school, but behind this door is something very special. This is the school's esports arena, equipped with 26 high-end computers and all the kit needed to transport students to another world.
Whoa, this is amazing.
I mean, this puts us at the front, ahead of every other school, I think, in the area.
It really looks like something out like Aliens or something.
But it's not just for fun. The school is one of the first in our area offering a BTEC qualification in esports. It's brought in students like Ty.
Coming here was like my main option for this type of course, and it's a real opportunity to actually do something like this. It's what I've been interested in pretty much all my life, and I potentially want to pursue a career in the future.
In 2022, the worldwide video games industry was valued at $184 billion, almost 4 times as much as the music and movie industry combined. But teachers here say the course offers students a lot more than pixels and polygons.
We start off by looking at the esports industry. We look at kind of how it makes money, you know, what's the strategy like. We look at the social and mental health part of it. We look at the different skills like developing resilience.
As soon as they come in here, it raises the bar completely. They know that we mean business on the course. They know that they're in a space that is just for them. It elevates the course completely.
The arena was the brainchild of Emily Coulson, one of the staff for the Academy's trust, who was accidentally drawn into this world after an esports fan confused her with one of its stars.
I didn't quite realise the industry that surrounds that, and there's such a diverse level of roles. And I was like, well, actually, this is all happening to me, but as a teacher, how can I benefit the students in my community? And then I just had this dream of building an esports arena where students could not only interact and play games and have fun, but actually have an educational quality.
Whether it's for fun or education, there's no doubt this facility is taking students to the next level. Matt Smith, BBC East Midlands Today, Countersthorpe.
How amazing is that? It's incredible. I don't know what else to say about it. It's weather time now, though, with Anna.
Lucky kids is what I say.
Yeah,
that looks
exactly.
Great fun,
yeah.
Great fun. Thank you, Annie. Well, we had a stunning sunset to end the day today. Lots of you weather watchers, you are busy sending in your pictures, and these are just 2 of them. So thank you very much, as always, bbc.co.uk/weather watchers if you'd like to join in. So what are we expecting then over the next 24 hours or so as we head towards the weekend? High pressure is dominating still at the moment. That's keeping us dry. It's keeping us settled. The river levels are still high in places, so hopefully they'll be continuing to settle down as we're not seeing any real precipitation now for the rest of the week and even into the start of next week. But high pressure is also causing a bit of a problem with TV and radio signals at the moment due to tropospheric ducting. Now, more information on the BBC Weather social media pages, but if your TV is playing up, it could be due to the high pressure. It should start to settle down as we head towards the weekend, as the weather pattern starts to change. So out there at the moment, we've been holding on to quite a bit of cloud across parts of Lincolnshire and into the southeast of Leicestershire through the day today, but the majority of us had those clearer skies. And under the clearer skies, we've had the sunshine through the day, but overnight it means the temperatures will be dropping away. So we're looking at lows of -1, but with very light winds and those temperatures dropping away, we're likely to see some areas of mist and fog forming that could be quite slow to clear first thing tomorrow morning. And then we have a similar day to what we've had today. Again, across the southeastern corner of our patch, we're more likely to hold on to that cloud for a time. Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, parts of Leicestershire still seeing plenty of sunshine. A bit of a chillier day. It was quite mild out there today, but we're looking at highs for most of us around 6 and 7 degrees Celsius. The cloud to our southeast will be filling in as we go through Thursday night and into Friday. So Friday daytime itself, quite cloudy, but should break up to give some bright or sunny spells at times. Temperatures around about 7 degrees Celsius. Quick look at your outlook, quite chilly across the weekend, some frosty starts and some extensive fog at times.
Oh, thanks indeed for that, Anna. Just about it from us. But before we go, we'd just like to say a bit of a goodbye to someone who's been a real rock here on East Midlands today. Now, have a look at this. There's obviously a big team putting this programme on air every day. There's our producer. But one of the linchpins is our director, Viv Holmes. Turn round, Viv. Give us a wave. You know, she's been at the BBC for more than 30 years. You can see she's a fashion icon. We are so going to miss her. We say... good luck, Viv. Give us one last look for your next chapter. She won't turn around now. Yes, she did. We are so going to miss her. But from me and from Anna and all the team, including Viv as well, it's a big goodbye. Have a good evening. And if you can join Monica just after 10:30, she'll be here. Bye-bye.